Today I'm here with Alphari, also known as Barney Morris. So, Barney, why Aatrox and not Maokai?
Because Aatrox is a strong champion right now, André.
Because Aatrox is a strong champion. So, Alphari, why Aatrox?
Well, it's a really strong champion right now, André.
Barney, you have to focus. Why is Aatrox such a strong pick at the moment?
He's just a really strong champion. He can be flexed both top and mid. He has pretty good matchups top lane usually, and he can sustain a lot of the bad ones with his passive. And when it comes to team fighting and split pushing, he can do pretty good at both.
What runes do you prefer to take on him?
Conqueror is the standard go-to, taking then Triumph, Tenacity, Last Stand, and then usually you also want to go Resolve secondary. So you take Revitalize to synergize with the extra healing. And bone plating is also just really strong mastery too.
Would you consider any other rune path or just stick to Conqueror?
You could also go Electrocute. First is Champs, which maybe you can't auto-attack as much first, like ranged champions. Also gives you a bit more sustain, which typically you'll want. Versus, more bully type lanes like Cannon, Jace, that'll range too.
What about items?
So the most important thing in terms of items is getting CDR on Aatrox. So usually you want to get this pretty early. Even just rushing like a Caulfield's Warhammer and a Kindle Gem before completing a major item. And then from there, you want to build Black Cleaver, then Death Stance. And then after these two items are completed, you can usually just build a mixture of damage and defense. So a Sterax Gauge, a GA, other bruisery items, like Spear Visage or Randuin's, also options then later on. So
if you had to describe Aatrox in terms of strengths and weaknesses so we can just measure them out, how would you consider it?
He's really flexible in that he can be a really strong split pusher, but it's also usually pretty strong for team fighting too. He's pretty safe laner, and he can also be flexed mid lane. And he just synergizes really well with a lot of other meta champions like Sedrani or Yumi. So he's pretty easy to fit into a comp. He's a quite strong side laner, but he has a pretty strong mid-game spike, so he can also team fight really well too. And he has a lot of self-sustain during lane phase, which allows him to kind of survive harder matchups a little bit better than most top laners. And then for weaknesses, he kind of struggles against champions that can kite him well. So Karma, Gangplank, in team fights, he has difficulties, reaching the backline and getting resets. In the same vein, he also struggles if he has to be the primary engage or if the enemy team has a lot of CC.
So if you're at home and you're playing solo queue, in what situation would it be oh, this is the perfect Aatrox game?
I mean, usually you can just pick it whenever, although if enemies for some reason pick a really immobile top laner like Rumble or Sion, then it's really easy to land all three outer parts of your queue, which is just huge damage and they can't really do much about it. So yeah, just a mobile champ struggle a lot.
You said some weaknesses of Aatrox, but you also said that you can pick him whenever. So if you're picking it against, for example, some champions that you said like Karma, Cannon, how would you actually minimize the weaknesses that your champion has against those?
I mean, like I said, you just want to try to survive lane phase, and then that's okay to do. The main problem is team fighting can be difficult when they're able to kite back a lot, but you still will be able to play a role in side lane versus champions like Karma or Cannon, you'll usually win. And team fighting, you can also win too, it's just you have to play it well.
You mentioned on the strength that he deals with a lot of damage, especially if he can hit all of his Qs. Just to wrap up the episode, could you give any tip or trick that makes it easier for you to hit all of your Qs?
I mean, it's the main combo in lane. It's just QE forwards, hit the outer part of your first Q, and then you want to hit your W, and then while they're getting while they're trying to run away from your W, you land your second part of your Q, so that they can't run out and they get dragged back, and then you can land your third part. So that's the main combo that you can do, try and land all three parts. Although the other, main trick on him would be to just let your Q timer run out after you use your first Q. This way it makes it really easy to chase down enemies because you get a shorter cooldown on your Q that way. So you can QE and then wait 3 seconds, 4 seconds, and already your Q is back up, and you can QE again and just chase them down like that.
And that's why the CDR is so important on him, right?
Yeah, CDR is really important to get reduced cooldown in your passive as well whenever you land your Q.
Thank you, Barney.
Thank you, Barney.
Thanks, Barney.
Thank you, André. You said I could react.
Hi. Thank you, Barney. That was it for the episode. Just let us know on the comments below what champions you would like to see next.